Good morning, dear students. See, in the last class, we have completed the first module that was completely related to introduction about the data warehouse. I'll just repeat what are the topics we have studied in the first module. Okay, so we have seen what is the data warehouse. Okay, and then see what is the difference between the data warehouse and the online transaction processing system, that is operational database systems. Okay, so apart from that, we have seen what is the three-tier architecture of a data warehouse. Okay, then we have seen what are the different types of data warehouse models. Apart from that, we have seen what is a multi-dimensional that is data model. That is nothing but a data cube. So then after that, we have seen what are the schemas that are available for the multi-dimensional data models. Then we have seen what is a concept hierarchy, and then types of that is measures, and the last topic is that is OLAP operations. See, these are all the things we have studied in the first module. See, all these things are related to that is basic concepts of a data warehouse. We have not seen exactly see how we are going to implement the data warehouse. Okay, that is how we are going to get the information from the data warehouse. That we have not studied. Only what we have studied in the first module is regarding the basic concepts. That is how the data warehouse will be present. Okay, and how the data will be organized in the data warehouse using multi-dimensional data models, and what are the options available for the data warehouse models. Okay, and then what are the kinds of operations we have got in the data warehouse model. See, all these basic concepts you have studied in the first module. Now coming to the second module. See, in the second module, again, we have got two chapters here. So in the first chapter, we will be studying about the data warehouse implementation. And in the second chapter, see, actual data mining concepts will start. So in the first chapter, see, we have got only 3 to 4 topics in this. Okay, so again in that, see, only two topics are very important from exam point of view. So I'll tell which are those topics later. Okay, just in the first chapter, we will just study in brief regarding how exactly we can implement a data warehouse. That is how exactly we can access the data which is stored in a data warehouse. Okay. So now coming to the basics of this chapter. So see here, data warehouse implementation. See, as we know that compared to that is operational database management systems, see the quantity of data that is stored in a data warehouse is very large. See, data warehouse will be containing a huge volumes of data here. It doesn't contain only a small quantity of data. A large quantity of data will be stored here compared to operational database management systems. Now the thing is, see, as a user, see, I told that which are the users of the data warehouse. Normally the data warehouse is used by knowledge workers, that is managers. Okay, then we have got the executives, analysts. All these people are called as knowledge workers. So knowledge workers will be using the data warehouse here. They want the result of execution of their query in fraction of seconds, even though the large quantity of data is stored in a data warehouse. But the users of the data warehouse, they expect that they want to get the result out of data warehouse in fraction of seconds. Okay, so here these OLAP servers, say they are going to demand that these decision support queries which are given by the users, they must be answered or executed in fraction of seconds or order of seconds. See, in the middle tier, we'll be having OLAP servers. See, these OLAP servers, ultimately they will be executing the queries on behalf of the that is analyst, executives, and the managers. So whenever they want to give the results, they expect that the result should be given in fraction of seconds. So if you want to give the results in fraction of seconds, then you need to take care of mainly three things here. Okay. So first thing is, say we need to provide a highly efficient cube computation techniques here. Say in case of a data warehouse, see all the data will be present in a form of multi dimensions. See, normally the data will be stored in a form of a cube here. So if you provide a support for efficient computation of these cubes, they can easily get the results in fraction of seconds. That is, users will get the result in only a fraction of seconds if you got a support for the highly efficient cube computation techniques. And also, see, you need to provide the access methods. Access methods are nothing but index. You need to provide the index with the help of which the users can easily get the data out of a data warehouse. And also you need to provide a support for query processing techniques here. Okay. So you need to have a mechanism. With the help of that mechanism, the users should be able to execute their queries very efficiently. So for that purpose, we require query processing techniques here. Okay. So these are the things which are involved in a efficient data warehouse implementation here. Okay. So in case of a data warehouse, we'll be having a large quantity of data. Since the quantity of data present here is large, but the users of a data warehouse, they require the result of their query execution in fraction of seconds. They want the answers to be answered in just a fraction of seconds. So if you want to provide such kind of a system, then you need to take care of that is three main mechanisms here. So one thing is you need to provide a highly efficient cube computation techniques here, and second one is access methods. You need to provide some access methods in the form of index. Okay, and third thing is that is query processing techniques. You need to provide efficient query processing techniques. Okay, now we shall study these three mechanisms now in detail. Okay, so first one is that is efficient data cube computation. Okay, so see here, in case of a data warehouse, ultimately the data will be stored in multiple dimensions. So one example for a multi-dimensional model is a data cube. So data cube stands for a three-dimensional model where the data will be represented. Okay, it will be viewed and analyzed in three dimensions. Okay, so now if you are able to compute this data cube efficiently, then that result of data cube you can easily provide to the user. They can easily access that. Okay, so for that we need to use the data cube computation query here. We have got this syntax for that. I will explain it later. So see here, in case of a multi-dimensional data analysis, see we'll be computing the cubes here. So these cubes are nothing but aggregations here. You'll be performing the aggregation operation. See, the result of that aggregation operation will be the result which is given to the user. Okay. Then how we are going to compute these aggregations? See, for the computation purpose, see we have got that is one operator. See, that is group by operator. Okay. So a group by, it is just like a group by clause which you have got in your DBMS system. See, there you will be grouping the data with respect to some of the attributes. So in the same way, see here also, see we'll be performing the aggregation or group by with respect to some of the dimensions. Okay, so that group by is nothing but, see, that is called as a cuboid here. So each of these group by, see, it is going to represent a cuboid. Okay, and then if you got a set of cuboids, see those set of cuboids. Okay, so that is going to form a data cube. So a data cube is nothing but, see, it is a collection of cuboids, and each cuboid stands for a aggregation operation that is performed for some set of attributes. So these collection of that is cuboids, they are going to define or form a data cube. So if you got a data cube, that data cube stands for, it is a collection of that is cuboids here. So that cuboid, each cuboid, see, it is going to represent a group by. That is group by is nothing but that is aggregation of the data values with respect to some of the attributes here or the dimensions. Okay. So in order to that is perform these that is aggregation, so we'll be using the group by operator here. Okay. So apart from that, see, we have got one more operator, that is compute cube operator. So with the help of compute cube operator also we can perform that is aggregation operation, or we can form a cuboid here. Okay. So see here, see, one of the approach that is available. Okay, in case of a data warehouse system, it is just like a SQL that is query only. Okay, the syntax just looks like a SQL query only. So for cube computation, so we have got one operator, okay, or a mechanism that is called as a compute cube operator. Okay, so ultimately, see, the result will be given to the user in the form of a, that is calculation of a data cube here. So if you have got a data cube, that data cube is just like a result of execution of a query here. So in order to find that result, see, we have got one operator here, that is the compute cube operator. See, this compute cube operator is a operator that is used for calculation of the aggregation with respect to some of the dimensions here. Okay, so see here, this compute cube operator, it is going to compute the aggregates. okay, over all of the subset of dimensions which is specified in the operation. So in case of a compute cube operator, it is just like your SQL command here. So in that compute cube operator, you'll be specifying the set of dimensions or attributes over which you want to perform the aggregation operation. So with the help of compute cube operator, you can easily perform the aggregate here over all of the subset of dimensions that you can easily provide in that code, okay, or a SQL that is a statement. Okay. But the thing is, see this compute cube operator, in order to store the result of this compute cube operator, so it is going to take a large quantity of space here. So storage space is required here is very excessive. Okay, suppose if you have got thousands or 20,000s of dimensions, so at that time, see almost you need to have 1 TB of storage space in order to store the results of this that is cube operators. Okay. So one of the mechanism that is available for calculation, okay, so that is a compute cube operator here. So with the help of a compute cube operator, we can find the aggregation, okay, so or group by. So this compute cube operator, see, it is mainly used for performing the aggregation over a subset of dimensions that you will be specifying in a operation. Okay. So now let us see one example. Okay, suppose for example, see you want to that is create a data cube that is for all electronics sales data. Okay, and you have got 3 dimensions here, that is city, item, and then year. See, these are the 3 dimensions here. Okay, with respect to these 3 dimensions, say you want to create a data cube. Okay, so if you create a data cube, see you can easily provide the results to the user. That is our main aim here. So now I want to create a data cube for all electronic sales here with respect to 3 dimensions, that is city, item, and then year, and a measure is that is sales in dollars or dollars sold. So see, after creating this data cube, you want to analyze the data using these queries. Okay, that is you want to compare the sum of sales by grouping the data with respect to 2 dimensions, that is city and item. And second operation is you want to compute the sum of sales here by grouping the data with respect to city. Okay. And third operation is, so you want to perform the that is the computation of the sum of sales with respect to item. Okay. So don't bother much here. Okay. You just try to understand, see what is this data cube. Okay. And how it will be helpful for us to analyze the data. So see here, I want to create a data cube with respect to 3 dimensions here, that is item and then year and then city. Okay. And then see, using this data cube, I will be able to perform many of the queries. She has given 3 examples here. That is, I want to compute the sum of sales by grouping the data with respect to city and item. 2 dimensions I have considered in the group by. With respect to this, I want to aggregate the data in order to find the sum of sales here. And here we have considered one dimension, that is city and item. Okay. Now the thing is, see how many total cuboids will be there in that data cube. Okay. So cuboid stands for one group by operation. So if you have got 3 dimensions here, city, item, and then year, see total number of that is cuboids which will be present in a data cube will be equal to 2 raised to 3. So if there are 3 dimensions, that is 2 raised to 3 is nothing but 8 cuboids will be present in this data cubes. Just see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Totally 8 cuboids we have got in this data cube. If there are 4 dimensions, then there will be 2 raised to 4 cuboids. That is 16 cuboids will be present in the data cube. Okay. So now in this, see already I explained, see what is this data cube is. Okay, so while explaining the data cube concept in the first module, okay, so see here, see we have got a base cuboid and then we have got the apex cuboid here. Okay, so this base cuboid, see, it contains 3 dimensions here. Just observe here. See in this base cuboid, we have got 3 dimensions, that is city, item, and then year. Okay, so this base cuboid, if you perform the compute cube operator on this base cuboid, see this base cuboid, it is going to give you the result, or it is going to return the total number of sales for any combination of 3 dimensions. See, using this base cuboid, see you can perform the compute cube operator. Okay. So and you can perform that operation on any combination. Okay, it can be with respect to either one dimension like city, individual, item, or individual, or year, individual, or it can be a combination of two dimensions or combination of three dimensions. Okay, so this is a base cuboid. Okay, and coming to the apex cuboid, see apex cuboid is a 0D cuboid. Okay, so actually it is an empty group by operation here. Okay, so it is going to contain the sum of all sales here. Okay, so that is nothing but sum of all these cuboids that will be stored here. See base cuboid, see it is having three dimensions here, and you can perform the compute cube operator over any of the dimensions here like city, item, or year. But in case of apex cuboid, see it doesn't contain any of the dimensions here. It is just a total sum of all sales here with respect to all these cuboids. Okay, so among these, see this base cuboid. Okay, so it will be least generalized. Okay, or it will be very specific here. So this is least generalized cuboid, and then apex cuboid is more generalized cuboid. Okay, so since it contains all of the dimensions here, so it is least generalized cuboid, and this apex cuboid is the most generalized cuboid here. Okay, so now suppose if you start at the that is apex cuboid, and if you step down this hierarchy, okay, that operation is called as drill down. See, already I explained what is drill down and roll up. Okay, so with respect to this data cube, see, suppose if you start at the apex cuboid and if you come down, okay, that by stepping down this hierarchy, then it is called as drill down. Okay, suppose if you start at the base cuboid and if you climb up the concept hierarchy, then that operation is called as roll up. Okay, so in the last class, see, I explained the OLAP operation. So in that, we had seen two operations, that is roll up and drill down. So roll up is nothing but, see, if you start at the base cuboid, that is from the bottom level of a concept hierarchy. If you climb up the concept hierarchy, then that is called as a roll up. And drill down is nothing but by starting at the highest level, we will step down the concept hierarchy. That is called as drill down. Okay. See, suppose if a SQL query, if it doesn't contain any of the group by, okay, then that SQL query is called as a zero dimensional operation. So see here, in this compute the sum of sales group by city and item. This is the operation here. See here, you have mentioned with respect to which dimension you want to perform the operation, that is city and item. Here also you have mentioned. Suppose in a SQL statement, if you don't have any that is dimension specified, then that operation is called as a zero dimensional operation. Suppose if an operation contains one that is the group by with respect to that is one dimension, such operation is called as one dimensional operation. So see here, these two examples are for one dimensional operation because we are specifying the group by with respect to one dimension here. So if there are no dimensions, that is zero dimensional operation. If you specify one dimension with respect to one that is dimension, if you specify the group by, then that operation is called as one dimensional operation. Okay, so if you specify two dimensions in a SQL statement, then such statement is called as two dimensional. Okay, in general, see, if you have got n dimensions specified in a statement, then that statement is called as n dimensional generalized operation. Okay, so now coming to the syntax for defining a data cube. Okay, see, just like how you got syntax for defining or creating a tables in a SQL statement. So in the same way, see, you got a statement to define the data cube here. Okay, so the statement that is used for creating a table in a DBMS system is create table. Okay, so create table and then table name, and then you'll be specifying the attributes in that statement. Okay, and for inserting the values, you got the insert into table and then table name. So all those statements, just like how you got that is the statements in case of SQL. So in the same way, in the data warehouse also, we have got one statement that is used for defining a data cube. So this is the syntax. So see here, see previous whichever this that is data cube which we have defined here. Okay, so then how we can specify the syntax for that. So this is the syntax. So that is define cube, that is the operator which we are using here, and then name of the cube here is sales cube. Okay, and then which are the dimensions? 3 dimensions I told, that is city by item and then year, and then put the colon and then specify the measure here. Okay, so what is the measure? See, sales in dollars, and here the operation that I want to find is sum of sales, so I use the operator as sum, and then sales in dollars. Okay, so this is the syntax which we can use to define the cube in a data warehouse. So define cube, and then name of the cube is sales cube, and what are the dimensions here? City, item, and then year, and then the measure is sum of sales here. Okay, now see what is the syntax for using the compute cube operator. See, I told that, see, in order to provide the results, we need to run a or we need to compute a that is the data cube here. So in order to compute the data cube, we have got one operator, that is compute cube operator. Compute cube, and what is the name of the cube here? Sales cube. So this is the syntax: compute cube and then sales cube. Okay. See, if you run this statement, say this statement is going to tell to the system to compute the that is aggregation of the sales with respect to how many dimensions here. So see here, totally how many dimensions we got? 3 dimensions: city, item, and then year. But how many subset of these dimensions will be present? Total 8 subsets will be present here, or 8 combinations. So see here, this is one: city, item, and year, and then individual, and then combination of 2, that is city, item, and then city, year, and then item, year, and then combination of all 3, and then this final value, that is sum of all these. So total 8 subsets of the that is compute cube operation we can perform here. So if you run this, see, this statement is going to tell to the computer in order to aggregate the sum of sales with respect to 8 subsets of the these 3 dimensions here. Suppose if you have got total 4 dimensions, then there will be total 16 subsets of the compute cube operator that will be executed. Okay. So now coming to the problem that is related to the that is compute cube operator. So see here, I told that, see, in order to provide the result in a very quicker format, so we'll be using the compute cube operator. So this online analytical processing system, see, they want to access these cuboids in a that is a for different queries. So we will be performing the queries here, and those queries, see, they want the results in very short time. Okay. So now if you want to provide the result in a short time, see, what you're going to do is, see, in advance, you will be calculating the cuboids here. Some of the cuboids or all the cuboids, so you'll be calculating here. See, with the help of this pre-computation, see, advantages, we will give the results in a very faster format. That is, the response time will be very fast here. And also we can avoid the redundant computations here. So instead of providing the same operator, that is executing the same operation and again, see, what we can do is, if we compute the that is result of a cuboid, and if we store that, see, we can avoid the redundant computation. This is the advantage of the that is compute cube operator. But the thing is, see, it is going to consume a lot of storage space here in order to store the results of these that is compute cube operator. Okay, so even though you got the advantage is that see, you can provide the results to the users in very less amount of time, and also you can avoid the redundant computations here, that is by pre-computing the cuboids. But the thing is, see, if you pre-compute the cuboid, it is going to consume a lot of storage space. See, suppose if you got many that is large number of dimensions here, then again, if each dimension has got the concept hierarchy, it is going to consume even a terabyte of size of storage space. Okay, so this problem is called as curse of dimensionality. Okay, so curse of dimensionality is nothing but, see, in case of a data warehouse system, we will be pre-computing the cuboids in order to give the results to the users in a very short span of time. Okay, so, and also in order to avoid the redundant computation, so we'll be pre-computing the cuboids. So if you got less number of dimensions, that is fine. If you got a large number of dimensions, see, then that pre-computation is going to consume a lot amount of storage space. And again, if you got many dimensions here, and if each dimension has got a concept hierarchy in that, then say it is going to consume around 1 TB of storage space. So this problem is called as curse of dimensionality. This is one of the disadvantage of using the compute cube operator. Okay. So now coming to see then how many that is cuboids will be present. Okay. So see here, so suppose if you don't have any of the concept hierarchy, then the total number of cuboids will be 2 raised to n. For example, in this example, previous example, so I told that see here we have got 3 dimensions, so total number of cuboids will be 2 raised to 3. So if you have got 4 dimensions, total number of cuboids will be 2 raised to 4. 5 dimensions, then total number of cuboids will be 2 raised to 5. In general, if you have got n dimensions, total number of cuboids will be 2 raised to n if you don't have any of the concept hierarchy in each of the dimensions. Suppose if you have got any of the concept hierarchies, okay, in the sum of the dimensions, then the total number of cuboids will be equal to this one. That is total number of cuboids is pi of I is equal to 1 to n li plus 1. This is the total number of cuboids. Okay. So remember that if you don't have any of the concept hierarchies, then the total number of cuboids will be 2 raised to n. So if you got concept hierarchies in some of the dimensions, total number of cuboids will be that is pi of I is equal to 1 to n li plus 1. Okay. So now the thing is, see as I told, see we have got a disadvantage of using that is compute cube operator. That is, it is going to consume a lot of storage space. So in order to avoid this problem, see what we can do is we can go for partial materialization. So you know what is the materialization is? See, materialization is nothing but it is a storage of a result of executing a query. Okay, that is result of a query storage, that is called as materialization. Okay. So in case of compute cube operator, say we'll be pre-computing the results of the cuboids here, and that we will be storing. That is called as materialization. Okay. So instead of storing all of the results of all the cuboids, what we can do is we can go for partial materialization. That is, whichever that is the result of cuboid is required, that only will be stored in the memory. That is called as partial materialization. Okay. So now coming to materialization, see how many options we have got in materialization here. See here we have got 3 different kinds of materialization. So first one is no materialization. So in case of no materialization, will not pre-compute any of the cuboids here. Okay. So will not compute any of the cuboids in advance. Only suppose if it is required by the user. Okay. So on the fly will be computing the cuboids. That is called as no materialization. No materialization means will not store the result of any of the cuboids in the memory. That is called as no materialization. Okay. So in case of no materialization, the results of cuboids will be computed only when it is required by the user. Suppose if the user requires that, then only we will be computing the results. That is first option. Second option is full materialization. So in case of full materialization, see all the cuboids will be calculated in advance, whether it is required by the user or not. Okay, so in the beginning only we'll compute all of the cuboids here. That is called as full materialization. Okay. So in this case, see the cube is called as a full cube because all the cuboids are pre-computed here. See ultimately what is the disadvantage of this? If you pre-compute all of the cuboids, so it is going to consume a lot of storage space. That is the disadvantage. Okay. So third best option is partial materialization. So in case of partial materialization, see will be pre-computing only subset of cuboids. Okay, that is required by the user. Okay, so only part of the cuboids which are required in the near future that will be computing. That is the third option, partial materialization. Okay, so in no materialization, none of the cuboids will be pre-computed in advance. Only if that is required by the user, then that will be computed. In full materialization, all of the cuboids, whether it is required by the user or not, that will be computed in advance only. Okay, and that will be stored ultimately. So the disadvantage is, see, it is going to consume a lot amount of storage space. And third one is partial materialization. So in partial materialization, only a subset of cuboids will be computing. Okay, then what is the parameter we can choose for that is choosing the cuboids here. So one of the parameter is based on some threshold. We can choose some of the cuboids here. Okay. See about this. See, I will explain in the next class. Okay. So okay, next topic. So better I will discuss in the next class. So now see, I will take this screenshot of your attendance. Just a